Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast episode 711. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinside,
Heyo.
and Tony
Hey,
Korkanitis.
hey, hey.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers. We are live right now on Twitch, Tuesday night, starting at 8 o'clock. Please join us for these conversations. You can chat and leave us comments. We'll talk back with you guys here, and we'll answer some questions if we need to. If you don't catch these live broadcasts at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays, you can always subscribe over to YouTube as well, and you get notified when we post there. That's usually the day after you get the episodes, so you can watch these on there, and all the old content as well. So be sure to subscribe to both. That way you know. All right, guys. 7-Eleven. What have you been up to? I have been away, so I haven't been able to watch too much. I just got back from a nice, relaxing trip to Lake George. I'm good for watched, I guess, right now. I didn't really add anything to the queue. I would like to know. Well, let's see. Corey, why don't you go? What have you seen?
Sure. Yeah, I went and saw Aliens Romulus,
Thank
which
God. Okay, good.
I was so far out on the Alien series after Prometheus and then Covenant, which Tony advised me not to see, which I've still not seen because apparently it's just I'm so out. I was so out on Alien. But then I saw the trailers for Alien Romulus and everything that's coming out of, and I was like, just when you think you're out, they pull me back in.
Yeah.
And so yes, I went out and saw Alien Romulus, and it is pretty good. It's not it's not the train wrecks that Prometheus was, in my opinion. I know some people out there like it, and I think what Prometheus was trying to do is something much more loftier goals with it, expand the mythos and the universe, and it just wasn't what I was looking for from an alien film, even though it's really not an alien film, right? This is much more of that horror monster movie,
It's got
enclosed, like small, not small budget, but I mean like a smaller feeling film where you have a group of kids who are down on their luck and they just need to basically do something to change their lives. And so they think this is the best path to do it. And obviously, things go terribly wrong, and they are stuck in a ship with a monster essentially, and it's really well done. It feels like tense, and there's a lot of great moments of suspense, and I think they pull a lot from classic Alien, as well as taking some things from more, some of the sequels, and then doing some new things. Which I think there's a sequence with the gravity aspect on space stations and ships and things like that's really neat and well done. And then I think that the relationship between the star and the another character is really well portrayed. I think they do a great job. I think the acting is very well done, and I think I think Andy is my favorite character. Andy's an awesome character in this movie. Have anyone seen it besides me?
no.
No, not yet. I might.
I do want to see this though, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm listening intently. Like, it's got more of the first Alien movie vibe, right?
Yeah, more of that vibe, but it feels more modern, I guess, obviously. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
cool to see
yeah.
because it's all like that, dirty future instead of like the high tech, sleek future. And I love that it's like the old DOS prompt type of like, oh, this is what technology is going to look like in the 20th century
Yeah.
or
80s style.
21st century or whatever. Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
whatever you do,
And
add
so that,
cables. Add cables everywhere, and then make
yeah.
it wet. It's like,
Giant,
what?
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And not enough lighting anywhere ever.
Yeah. And so there's some throwbacks. Obviously, if you know Prometheus stuff, there's like a call out there.
I was gonna say,
Um,
like, I heard that I don't have no idea of the story, but I heard it actually enhances Prometheus a little bit, or not really. No.
I
Okay.
don't want to recall that movie at all. So
Okay.
I
It's
do
funny because I'm
not.
trying to remember Romulus, and I'm just like, I just remember
Or
not liking it.
Covenant?
Romulus.
Or Covenant.
Covenant.
Yeah,
Covenant.
yeah. I'm
Covenant.
sorry. This
Yeah.
is Romulus. Covenant. I'm
Mhm.
just like, I cannot remember, and that's
Yeah,
bad.
it's a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a good
Bad for
thing.
them. Good
Yes.
for me.
Hmm.
Yes.
But like I said, I think the fact that they are toning the the goals of what Alien is trying to do down to like just let's just have like a nice horror suspense
Hmm.
thriller in space with old
And that's
new
what it should be.
technology.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't
It's not
need to create
complicated.
this
No. No.
multiverse universe, like it's like this big budget and all this, like it's all these crazy like mythos stuff and origins and we have to expand and expand. No, just like have a monster and like you're on a ship and there's things go wrong and you have to deal with that and see how you can do it in a unique way. Like that's what is cool. And these are just like down on their luck people that are just trying to do something good for themselves and they have to make a bad decision and then bad decisions become worse decisions and a whole slew of things happen and yeah, it's cool. And there's some really gross, nasty things that happen in this too.
Yeah, I saw this tweet that was said there's a certain part in the movie, and I won't say where, but like apparently it's very I don't know if traumatizing is the right word, but like very gruesome to watch or like hard to watch. I don't know. But I saw a tweet that like, kind of took off, and I was like, huh, well, that'll be interesting when I get to that.
Yeah, there's some things that just make you feel real uncomfortable.
Yeah. But that's what it should do, right? That's what it should do. Because
Yeah,
I mean, the first
exactly.
Alien, that classic scene of the, I mean, first of all, like the what is it, the face hugger, that was ridiculous. But then the chest burster sequence was
Right.
like,
The face huggers are so like, oh, it's just like that, like invading your personal space for one. That's like just get and then just like shoving their they just down your throat and impregnate. Oh, it's just like so
they're what, Corey?
disgusting.
They're what down your throat?
Disgusting. I don't know what it is, man. I don't even want to know. But like it's
What
just
happened?
the one thing I will say is they accelerate some things a little bit here to
Yeah.
kind of keep things moving along because there is also this sense of urgency with what's happening throughout the movie because there is like a timer on certain things. So it's like, well, now we need to accelerate certain stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. But you can kind of look past that. But I will say that's the one downside I would put out because like the the face hugger and the chest burster and stuff. Like I think the fact that the Alien movie did that in a way where it was like there was time and there's time to like, oh, okay, things are okay. We're gonna be all right. Here, you know what's gonna happen, right? That was a surprise in the first one. Now you know. So it's like, oh, we'll just get to the good parts and we'll just do that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's cool. So they advance that quickly, but they don't time skip. They just advance the amount.
It just everything felt a little more accelerated with certain
Got it.
evolutions of things.
Now, was it better than Borderlands? Okay.
I mean, I don't know if you can.
You can.
I don't know if there's. No, I mean, I'm saying I don't know if you can get worse than Borderlands.
I thought you said I don't know. You can compare them. Like you can compare anything.
Oh, absolutely. But I would say, yeah. I mean, there's no comparison here. It's way far head and shoulders above what Borderlands was doing. I mean, Borderlands. I can trash that movie all day. I can. It's just so stupid. I messaged it on Discord. It's like the movie is for no one. It literally is not for the fans, and it's not for the non-fans, because you don't know anything going in, but you don't learn anything. So they assume you know everything, but then the fans, they know everything, but it's not what they know. So it's like, and they never explain anything. People just come out of nowhere, they show up, and they disappear.
Video game movie is what they did.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that. Like, their video game movies, I would say, have done a better job. And
we've come a long way, and we regressed.
That's what I'm saying. Like an old one. Like,
I mean, like I remember we talked about it last week, and I wouldn't even say that at this point because I think it's just bad Hollywood being Hollywood with its like meddling and all that.
All right, Tony. Did you watch anything else, Corey, or no?
That's the big thing.
Okay, Tony.
I went through and watched the second and third Hobbit movies. I never got around to them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and
it's fair. I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah,
and
they weren't as good.
Like that's like I remember liking the first part of the Hobbit, but like even back then I was like, why are they making it three? Like, how are you making the shortest book and making it into 3 movies when even the original trilogy is like 1 movie per book, which was pretty hard to do. And whatever, like I mean, it's nice comfort, like whatever. You get to see the environment, the locations are gorgeous. The cast is great, the wardrobe is wonderful and stuff like that. So that's great. But as soon as I'm watching it, and I'm sorry, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen these, but at some point Legolas shows up. And I'm like, what? I was just like, wait, you're not in this book. What are you fucking doing here? so they forced Legolas in the second and third movies, and I can only assume is because Orlando Bloom as that character is a draw for people, which
Yeah,
I understand.
he was a name for them. Yeah,
But I'm just like, it's not like he's like a guest appearance and it's like, oh, he makes one or two lines and then just disappears or something like that. It's like he has like a secondary like, thing in this
I remember that.
in the saga. I'm just like, what the fuck? And they introduce a female character that is his love interest, who literally talks to a dwarf once, and he makes an insinuation that he might have something down his pants, and she falls in love with him. And I'm just like, what is this fucking forced romance shit? Like,
Was it a dwarf or was it a hobbit?
It's a dwarf. I'm sorry if I said
I
hobbit.
don't remember. No, I thought I couldn't remember because I knew it was something like it was a short person, but I didn't know if it was.
So I was just
a
like,
dwarf or a
what
hobbit.
is this? And again, I'm sorry, spoiler alert for a decade-old movie.
It's old,
At the third one, the dwarf winds up dying, and she's crying. This elf lady, she's like, "Is this what love is? If it is, I don't want it. It hurts." And I'm just like, lady, you talked to him for like 5 minutes.
And she's supposed to be pretty old too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, elves live a while.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh my god, this is just unbearable. Like I just want to be like Peter Jackson. What the fuck are you doing? Like, who told you that this was going to be a good idea? Like,
I don't know.
I guess
I remember watching that.
Whatever.
The second one was so bad.
I don't mind romance, but this is just felt so forced and just so unbelievable. And like they try to do this love triangle. And I heard that the actress that did that character, she only agreed to come onto this if there wasn't a stupid love triangle. And of course, they filmed certain parts, and then when they did reshoots, they made her do like, oh, actually, we are doing a love triangle. It's like, what the fuck? So, yeah, whatever. I mean,
Isn't that like the girl from Lost, Hope in the Marvel movies?
Was it?
oh, is it? Yeah, maybe.
Oh, maybe it is her.
But yeah, no,
Evangeline Lilly.
He looks kind of elfy.
Yeah,
I think I
maybe it
remember her
is.
being in it.
the makeup was really the wig and makeup was really good. So it's hard to tell.
No,
But
I'm gonna look it up.
anyway, I mean, they're fine movies. Whatever. It's not like I had a bad time, but it's just like, what are we doing here? This is pure corporate greed here. It's like,
Yeah,
Peter,
I
we want you
think
to
I
do a
remember
trilogy of movies.
Was the second one Desolation of Smog?
Yeah, Desolation.
Yeah, that one I hated. I think I hated that one. Like, I didn't like that one at all. Like, I was just like, ugh, no, I didn't like that movie. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the way
it
was
ended
like,
poorly.
yeah.
It's like, wait, what? That's the ending?
Like, I understand it's a middle movie, but I'm like, that was just a poor middle movie.
Yeah.
But, all right. Cool. All right, anything else? You good?
Mm.
All right, Mike?
I actually watched a couple episodes of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on
Oh, the new show.
Paramount.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's okay. It's definitely targeting kids, maybe even more than the movie was.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I'm still not fully on board with the voice cast and the kind of reworking of the characters in that way. But it's fun. They're doing this thing where it's sort of like a Rashomon thing, where one thing happens and then everyone tells their own story, and each turtle has their own kind of one-off episode to start. So I've watched a couple of them. The only problem with me is the level of Paramount Plus that I'm getting has ridiculously long commercials, and it's almost not worth it for like a 22-minute show or whatever. But
That's my problem with Hulu, with anything History Channel related. Like, it is like 3-minute commercial breaks, or 3 minutes and 30. It may be longer than that for commercial breaks for that. I don't watch anything that's that channel, so I get you.
The show is okay. I don't know if I'm gonna keep going with it. I probably will, but at a pretty slow pace. I'm not on the edge of my seat or anything. But yeah, I'm just waiting for Paramount Plus to disappear so I can get my Turtles content somewhere else, because it's annoying. That's most of what I took from this. But yes.
It'll get bought by somebody soon. You're right. It'll merge or something like that.
Somebody just made a bid on it, I think.
Yeah, it'll merge soon. All right, box office this weekend. Alien Romulus, number 1, 42 million. Good for that. It did 100 million worldwide, right? And it had an $80 million budget, so it's going to make its money back too, which is good. Very good.
That's good.
So it had a pretty strong weekend for an R-rated movie. Not as strong as some R-rated movies, but pretty strong.
I mean, Borderlands would have taken this.
Yeah, I mean, in number 2 was not Borderlands, which opened last week. It was Deadpool and Wolverine at 30 million.
Still going strong.
Yeah, it ends with us at number 3, a close number 3 at 23.8 million. And Twisters is back up there,
Power
which I
couple.
think is available digitally now.
It is available
Yeah.
digitally.
Well, it still did 10 million last week, so good for that. So, and Coraline number 5. Where'd that come from? 15th
Deadpool and
anniversary.
Wolverine officially became the #1 highest-grossing R-rated movie, surpassing Joker.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. 546 domestic. It's up to now. Yeah, 500. Well, almost 547. $547 million domestic.
It's 549.9 right now.
Oh, 549. No, I got the old numbers then, so that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
Almost
should
550.
It
Crazy.
should hit 600 domestic. So
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Incredible.
it should be like 1.2 after all. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Just looking at just to mention 2 bad movies in the box office. Borderlands and Harold and the Purple Crayon are going for like worst flops of all time. Borderlands is now up to 13.6 million, and Harold is at 15.7.
Who? No
The hell
offense
is
to
that?
children's books out there. I think they're probably just fine. But who really cared about this one other than small
Levi.
children?
Exactly.
I guess.
Well,
I mean, even then, it's
and
like,
Levi Stack, obviously. But I'm
Levi
saying
cared
like
about it.
Did I post
Borderlands.
that one?
I think.
Go ahead.
You posted it. I read it. Go see this movie. Why are you going to see that movie? Yeah. He was,
Yeah, well, you're going up against Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. You're not going to win.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why are you going to see Deadpool and Wolverine? Go see much better movies. Basically what he said.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think Borderlands probably had more lofty goals than.
Oh, it definitely did, and it's a terrible movie. So, Borderlands, by the way, anybody that wants to watch this will be able to watch it in the comfort of their own homes in just 2 weeks, right? End of the month, 28th, or next week. Next week. What am I saying? Next week.
Yep.
At this point.
And this is the crazy part because we've talked about it ever since COVID landed and stuff like that. But all this is doing is the faster your movie or the worse your movie performs, the faster it gets to streaming, right?
Yeah.
Or digital, right?
Digital, yeah. Twisters did good though, and it got to digital pretty quick. I don't know. It's by the studio right now.
It is weird. It is by the studio. I will say that. I think Twister was. I guarantee you, probably they were like, yeah, we don't really expect much out of Twister, and made some kind of deal right early on or something like that. But I just feel like this is just training the audience to be like, all right, well, if it's not a AAA blockbuster movie, fuck it. Like, we're not gonna see it in the theater where it's $20 a ticket. We'll just wait a month and get it on streaming for $20, and we can watch it.
Well, that's what it is. You're supporting or you're promoting. Like, don't go see our movie because you'll be able to see it faster.
It's just like you have no confidence, and I get it, but
yeah, I don't know.
Not gonna break the cycle.
I don't know the strategy, but
I will say though, I did get the Claptrap popcorn bucket.
Oh, so speaking of the popcorn buckets, one of my friends, she lives in an area that they don't have Regal, right? And she wanted this one popcorn bucket that I guess is like the container they use to host the, I don't know, embryo, egg, face hug.
Oh, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's a glow in the dark thing or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I have a Regal like right by me. I can just stop by, I'm doing my weekend groceries or something like that. So Saturday, I stopped by my Regal, and I was like, yeah, hey, I don't need a movie ticket or anything. I just want to buy this silly popcorn bucket, right? She's like, yeah, sorry, we sold out Thursday night. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, just we only got so many in. They all sold out. And then I'm like, okay. So then just out of curiosity, I go on eBay, and these freaking popcorn buckets are going for like $80. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Well, aren't they like $50 usually?
30.
Popcorn bucket?
Retail was 30.
30. Okay.
But people are paying like $80 for it online. I'm like, it's a popcorn. Like, it's a cool bucket. Don't get me wrong. It looked really cool. But I'm just like, oh, it's $80. Cool. But
when we get the fans, man, they got me.
Yeah.
I think it
sounds
to me.
Like
it sounds to me like they got the fans to go buy the popcorn bucket and then leave the theater and not watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds to me like they did. Yeah.
And then one other thing, it's not really news, but Corey, you posted it for Alien, and I posted it for Deadpool and Wolverine. But Disney Plus was giving subscribers a $10 off coupon code to use to go see those movies respectively. And that's part of one of the perks I was talking about, where like these companies have to think outside the box. Where it's like now it's like, oh well, maybe I do want to go see it. I can just get $10 off. You knock a $20 ticket down to 10, or if you go to matinee, it's like $5 basically afterwards.
Maybe the ticket. I mean, the Alien ticket was like $11, so it would have been $1 to get Disney Plus for a month essentially.
Right, and then at that point, you're more incentivized to like, oh, bring a friend, bring your date, or whatever, and stuff like that.
It makes it easier to go to these things as a family too. It's like, oh, I'm not spending $50, $60 to see a movie.
Right, and what doesn't cost Disney $10 to do that. Right, so
did you guys? Did you guys hear the news with Disney Plus? I didn't even put it on the news about the
Oh
arbitration
yeah, the
case they're
stupid
trying to
thing.
do.
Whatever.
That was. I mean,
That's
it's
insane.
Like it is insane.
That's
Don't get me wrong,
absurd.
it is insane. But it's just like whenever
I mean,
lawyers
if you
are
don't know what
involved.
we're talking about, basically a guy's suing Disney, but they're saying no, you can't sue us because you signed this agreement with
Well,
Disney Plus, which has nothing to
he's
do with what he's suing for, which is a
Yeah,
wrongful
nothing to
thing.
do with
His
that.
wife died
I
at
think
a
his wife got
park,
killed,
I
right?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife got killed in an accident at the park, and then he was suing them,
no,
and they
not
said,
an
"Well, you signed."
accident. It was a allergic
Allergic.
reaction.
Well,
Oh,
okay,
this
that's an
reaction, that's right.
accident still. Like
Yeah,
accidental
it's an
death.
accident. I
No.
mean, but it's abroad. I get Mike's point.
Right, it's not like, you know.
It's like a ride, not like a ride broke or something. But yeah, so she had an allergic reaction, and then he wanted to sue them, and they said, "Well, you signed this Disney Plus agreement that says you have to bring it to
Right.
arbitration immediately, and you can't sue us."
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
But,
unbelievable.
that's stupid.
And
Well, it's
got negative
crazy.
PR. They dropped it
Yeah,
though. They dropped it at least.
Yeah, it's dumb.
They
I
did
will
try,
say, to
though.
Tony's
They did
point
try.
though, with that is, it wasn't like unlimited either, because they
Yeah.
sold out of those coupons for Alien. Because I was gonna do it. I was like, oh well, might as well, free ticket or free Disney Plus for a month, whatever. And yeah, it sold out. I was like, oh dang, this is more popular than I expected.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some news, guys. Well, let's kick it off with Beau DeMayo.
Let's talk about more lawyers.
Yeah,
More
lawyers.
lawyers.
I think kick it off with the low stuff, the bad stuff, and then
Low
finish with the
hanging
good stuff.
fruit.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's weird that we tied with that. But like, I figure we finish stronger with the good news than the bad news. That's the way I want to do it. So, Beau DeMayo, the former showrunner for the X-Men '97 series, former I say, because obviously he was
Great
out
show,
season
great,
one.
yeah, great.
Season
We
two,
talked about.
apparently they have dropped his name from the credits in season two, which caused a bit of a backlash by him on
Kerfuffle.
posting. Yeah, so it caused like this drama to come out about everything that's been going on, how he didn't do anything wrong according to him, and then we have other news that he did not. He did in fact do other things wrong by sending nudes to other employees of the company while he was working there.
I don't know if they were nudes, but they were lewds, maybe.
I saw reported
Nudes and or
in, like,
nudes.
heroic.
I mean,
I didn't see the
whatever.
pictures. No, I'm just saying I saw like reported nudes in heroic
Inappropriate
poses.
either way.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so he sent those out, and that was what was leaked. Apparently now his lawyer, who by the way that's terrible speech. What was it? Was
I
he
posted it.
he did not send anything to the people who
The
reported.
people who reported that he did not send anything to them.
Yes.
So
So the people that
Um,
reported
basically
him,
what
he
it
didn't send to, but the people he didn't, who
Yes.
didn't report him, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's what
it's just, I mean, when you have like pictures of yourself in like just like Cyclops' yellow strap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that wasn't even, like that's probably like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. But I mean, the thing was, he was sending pictures of himself, right? Because again, he has an OnlyFans, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, get your money, right? Because he's well toned, athletic, whatever you want to call it.
Always be hustling.
Always be hustling. But when you're sending shots of yourself in like various stages of undress to specifically younger male people that are maybe not even in your direct chain of command, but like adjacent, right? Where it's like they don't have the seniority to push back on that. It's like, hey, feel free to use these for like reference shots and stuff like that. It's like,
That's what he said.
right?
Yeah.
It's weird and it's creepy and inappropriate, right? And I think there were also discussions of him being like very aggressive, both like physically and verbally. So
verbally, I saw verbally. I didn't know about physically. But
I mean, maybe intimidating is more the way, like getting into people's face or whatever. But the thing is, again, like kind of like when we heard the first news, like right when the X-Men '97 launched, only like a couple people were saying some vague things on Twitter then, and kind of again people were saying, "Yep, like look, like water's wet" or something like that. Where it's just like, I'm not surprised by this news. That's weird. It's not weird. That's whatever. So again, I'm not particularly invested in this, but it just goes to show like all he had to do was like shut his mouth, right? That's what it comes down to. Is like
everybody walked away.
Right.
Quiet.
Disney was like,
this is what was weird about this whole thing with me, and I've been saying it the whole time. They before the show even debuted, they're like, well, not going to be the showrunner anymore, and he's basically fired. So it seemed like they wanted to distance themselves from him. But then everyone was all buddy-buddy. He talked about every single episode, like almost doing a commentary on Twitter for every episode. I'm like, like, oh, you're really pushing this, aren't you? Is kind of how I felt, but no one really cared until then. He got upset, I guess, about season 2 taking his name off the credits, and then
That
Well, no.
that and I
He
think
tried to
not
get an
speaking of,
invite to the
yes, what I mean. Go ahead.
was
Getting
it
his
the
award.
yeah
The
Emmys,
award.
right?
Yeah, the Emmys.
Yeah, and
Emmy
Yeah.
Award.
they rejected his thing for it, and that's what caused him to speak out about the wrongful termination or whatever he said
Mhm.
initially. And then at that point, that's when Disney's like, okay, well now you forced our hand, right? It's like we were fine to just like terminate you and just kind of let
Sweep this under the rug. Everybody goes away.
Be a
Let's
nice
just move
break.
on.
Just everybody kind of
Yep.
mutually go, and that's it. That's what they were trying to do. So yeah.
So I mean,
All
it
right.
definitely makes him look bad at this
it
point.
absolutely
It's
makes
like-
him look really bad.
So it's like now you're trying to get your lawyer to get in here and say like you didn't do this stuff, but I mean, if Disney's got proof and they've got their investigators and they did all that stuff already, it's like what
Apparently, there's
do you
there's
stand on?
visual proof at Disney that this happened. So
And that's the mind blowing thing. It's like you left a digital trail. Like it's not going to take
text messages
much
with photos
to,
are there
for for just all one person needs to do is be like, this is an example, and it's like, yeah, you're, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this
I
guy
don't
pretty
think he
much
thinks
self-sabotage.
that-
Was that?
I don't think he thinks there's anything wrong with the picture.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I'm
I
100%.
think he would argue that, and whatever. But so I don't think he views that as proof. He's just like, yeah, well, you have a problem.
Well, that's why his lawyer's saying, oh well, nobody that reported to HR was a direct report. It's like, okay, but you understand a direct report wouldn't, would go to HR, like they would go above their own report. Like if you hear something and you're in like management, you are supposed to go to HR about it. So it's a nothing burger of a statement. It's like that's a fabrication. That's a lie. It's like, okay, but you're missing the forest for the trees here. Like did this happen? Yes or no? Like you answer that question.
He's not saying that. He's saying with the people that filed it,
Yeah.
it did not happen. All right. Let's see. More news. Cancellations. Acolyte. The Acolyte has been canceled after one season with the it has been chosen to not be picked up.
See, it's like I think the
appease
cancellation
Corey's-
thing is all about
appease
the
Corey's
clickbait.
thing. Yes.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of clickbaity stuff with the cancellation. Like, it's not canceled; it's just not getting renewed.
Well, I mean,
There
so
will
here's
be
the
no season 2.
here's the thing about
it's
that.
not getting a
they,
season 2.
They just had D23 and they had what's his name there.
Manny?
Manny. They had Manny. Had D23.
It
was his birthday when they announced this, right?
Yeah.
But they specifically said, like, even like the week of D23, they were happy to have him. Can't wait for him to be a bigger
was
part of the
fantastic.
universe. This
He
and
was
the other thing. And so there were some people, and I don't know how much you believe or not, are saying like, yeah, they were just about getting ready to put together the writers' room and stuff like that for this show and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden it just gets axed and stuff like that. So to me, and like the thing is, they promoted a book to a D23 for Acolyte, a book and a comic, I think, or something like that. So to me, it seems like this was a very recent decision where it's like, oh,
I think what happened was like what you posted in our Discord was 180 million budget. They're like, wait a minute, how much did this cost? What? And then they realized they probably tried to increase it for season 2, and that was it. They can't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
the
what I'm
thing is,
thinking.
This was filmed 2 years ago, probably 3,
Yeah.
and that was back in the era where Disney was throwing money at these shows to, expand Disney Plus and stuff like that. But the thing is, the fact that they like didn't want to work on like maybe a reduced scope or reduced budget with, whatever special effects and stuff like that, it's just so disheartening. And I'm kind of checked out of Star Wars for the most part, but like to me, it's just like this just shows me it's like, okay, well, first of all, you guys are creatively bankrupt because you refuse to leave the Skywalker saga. You won't give anything time to shine.
I think it's based on like worry about fans. Like I think a fan.
Well, no, that's absolutely what they are.
Okay.
They're catering and they're catered to the lowest common denominator of the people online that are like, oh, it's POC, DEI, like women, people of color. It's like
so woke.
Yeah, it's woke. Go woke, go broke, and stuff like that. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. And I want to say, like, it's not even, the sad thing is I can't even say it's new because we saw what happened after episode 7, right? Mm-hmm. With both, the leads there. So it's just like, the Star Wars fan base, unfortunately, has the worst one among any social, like popular fictional series. I'm sorry to say that. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's
you're
been
not
taken
wrong.
over by
Everything I've
these
seen,
fucking online right-wing incel
Online
type
trolls.
people. Yeah.
Online trolls.
Well, that wouldn't matter if the numbers were there. Like people talk online about everything. That has nothing to do with real life. So, the fact is, the majority of people, did they want to watch this or not?
The numbers were
I
good.
guess
They're not the
not.
best, but like you're making a new product with new characters. It's not like, oh, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi or this is Ahsoka
Boba
Tano and
Fett.
stuff like that. It's, hey, we're going to a different era of the Star Wars history. You're going to have to learn all these characters. Like, sorry.
But then the thing that I didn't necessarily care for was that they tried to pull it in to other stuff later. So,
What's that?
which Jim showed like
Well, listen,
pointed out.
I don't know why you guys are so
Were they trying
offended
to?
by this. This is how
I'm
Marvel made their whole empire. Everything has to be connected. So if you have something in the universe and you don't use the fact that it's in the same universe, then what's the point? And people,
well, yeah,
the
but
general audiences that Marvel got in droves for these last 15 years, that's what they've been, conditioned to expect. If you're in a Star
Yeah,
Wars
but the
universe,
thing, Mike,
I
you're
want my
what
Star
you're
Wars
missing,
characters referenced.
Mike, is that Marvel has all these different characters that are like as far as the like Captain Americas and the Iron Mans and then the Black Panthers and the Thors and the Lokis, whatever. They have all these characters. Star Wars is constantly going back to the same characters, like the same three characters over and over. That's
yeah.
where it gets tiring.
I mean, like
So when they finally
some
do branch out, and
some of
it
them are
works a lot of
different.
times. I mean, it works.
What's
Like
one
with
big reason it works for
Mandalorian,
you?
people love that because it was something different, and it was even though it took place like after certain events, like it still was away from Force users and
Yeah,
Jedi and stuff like that.
yeah,
Where
and yeah.
I think that yeah, I think doing something different is good. It just
Well, like I said,
yeah.
Churro said it in the chat. Like the characters weren't likable enough. The main characters were just not likable enough, and that I griped about that on the on my when I talked about the show. Like everything it was doing that was cool seemed to be overrun by the fact that they were not just the main characters just weren't like it was around them. You know what I mean? That was the cool parts, not the main characters. And we just talked about this with Batman. I feel like, didn't we? Like it was like the stuff that was happening was great, but not enough of the main character. And
Yeah,
like,
I can't comment because I haven't seen the series. But
yeah,
here's the thing. Again, like you can't improve a show if it's do or die, right? That's what it is. And we've talked about this before when Netflix was very nilly willy with
Yeah.
success or failure, right? But you got to aim for the stars, and if you miss, it's death, right? Like you can't be like. If they had a plan, like if they had, guaranteed 2 seasons or 3 or whatever like that, they'd be like, hey, these characters are going to start out rough and they're going to get better over time. Or they get the feedback. Maybe they were like, oh, well, we thought the internal testing was better and we can
yeah.
correct that on the second season or something like that. And now it's just like, okay, well, we wasted up this idea. We wasted this up. We have no commitment
It
to
is
that.
sad.
And it is sad. And the thing is, like, I have to blame Filoni a little bit here because ever since he's taken over, it just seems like his pet project, and, we kind of, I think, expected this to a degree, right? Because Ahsoka Tano was not good. And yet that's getting a
It
season
just got
2.
worse every episode.
Yeah, it got worse every episode. And I have to think back about when the Clone Wars cartoon came out. Like, season 1 of that was not good. I mean, we joke about it whenever Mike talks about watching it, but, like, the first season on that, like, reader or the viewer recommended thing, there's maybe, like, 3 episodes of the first season that's like, yeah, you should probably watch these, right? And then everything else is just
That's it.
kitty-ass filler. But
Oh,
what were they
that's-
able to do after, getting their
example.
grounding? They made an incredible show. So it's just sad. Like, I get, it's 180 million is probably too expensive, but, like, you're telling me you couldn't find a way to do it for half the budget?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Especially if these people are so like passionate about it, like, and not to say that you shouldn't get what you deserve, but if you're passionate about something and you want to make something good, like maybe you take a pay cut or something. Like again, I don't want to
know.
say
Well,
don't to get less than what you deserve or what you're worth, but if you can show
I just don't
off
know where
like,
that
hey, I have
budget
this,
went. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I don't
I have
know.
no idea.
I know that it used to happen back in like when network TV was the thing, but in the streaming era, is there any time a next season gets a lesser budget, or do they just cancel the show? Because it seems like they just canceled the show in the streaming era. that you won't
Yeah,
have
I mean, well, that's
next
what it is.
season
Because
have a
the
lesser
other
budget.
thing is you don't have that feedback, right? Because everything is already done, essentially, right? You're
Yeah.
not going, you're not filming and learning as you're listening to the audience. The audience isn't there to help you shape the show because it's already done. It's like you
Right.
don't have.
And I
the-
think that's a bigger issue, and maybe one's that a problem that these companies are gonna have to figure out now is like when you look at syndicated TV, right? Like by the time the whatever season 1 is done and wrapped up, they have a little bit of a break, but like not too shortly after they're working on season 2, right? Like the writers, get together,
Yeah.
do that and stuff like that, because there's no question about it, right? But with streaming, it's like, hey, we're done with this first season, and now we got to wait for the numbers and the feedback. Pretty early on if the numbers weren't good, because obviously the company doesn't want to do it. But even at best, right? Let's look at Fallout. That's a prime example of the opposite end, where it blew everyone's expectations out of the water.
You know,
You would think if this was syndicated TV, they would have, they'd be in season 2 right now. They're like, oh shit, like do this, and then bam. Now it's like, oh well, sorry guys, you're gonna have to wait like 3 years for season 2, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, formatting is
right?
the problem. Yeah.
And I talked
yeah.
about that with like recently about like Cobra Kai and stuff like that, where like, and The Boys, where I'm just like kind of like, yeah, the ideas are just not it anymore, and they're spinning their gears and just doing the thing. But it's not like, hey, this is over in 3, 4, 5 years. It's, oh, this took a decade to do. It's just like,
Yeah.
all right, like
even
whatever.
like Squid Game.
Man.
Like, how long has it been since
Yeah.
Squid Game?
Yeah.
Right?
3, 4 years.
Yeah. Do we remember being like, oh man, May to September, it's so long for the show to come back when everything was on the same schedule on regular
Yeah.
TV?
Yeah, I remember the season finale weekends. Yeah, that was great. And then you're like, oh, I gotta wait till October for this thing or whatever it was, end of September. Yeah. So
Now we have to wait years.
years. Yeah.
For
We're on a
like
video
5
game
episodes,
schedule, essentially.
Yep.
Yep.
for
All right.
less episodes too. Yep.
Let's see. Pacific Rim Origin series in the works at Legendary, from Eric Heiser. I probably butchered his name, and I apologize.
There was an animated series that was
There was on
pretty
Netflix.
good.
On Netflix, I gotta watch that.
This is done by Legendary, which would be Max, right? This is Max.
Mhm. Well, I mean,
So
Legendary does. I wouldn't
I
count
don't know.
anything as Max exclusive anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna
All right.
like, same thing as like
Haven't
Sony
announced the
having stuff
network
out on
then?
other platforms, whatever.
Yeah, they haven't announced the network then yet, or where this is streaming, but they're doing an Origins Pacific Rim, which is great. I mean, I think that's a great format, like giant kaiju against mechs and stuff like that. I think it's a great
so depressing
thing to
because
do.
like I never saw Uprising, and everybody who's I've ever talked to is like, yeah, don't watch it. Like,
Yeah, you don't have
not
to,
one
you don't have
person
to
told me,
watch
yeah,
it.
you should, yeah, like you can still enjoy it. Like everybody's like, don't watch it. I'm like, oh, like that's sad.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
It's a shame because we were so hyped in that first movie so much.
Oh yeah.
There was good world building that they did in that.
Yeah, what else we got here? Lastly in the news, we got this cool trailer from Prime Video, Secret Level. Yeah, you posted this cool trailer. So this is a new, like,
Anthology is what they're using.
anthology. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Anthology series coming to Prime Video that looks like kind of like, would you say like Captain N kind of thing? Like sort of like a guy brought into a gaming world. Is that what I'm getting from this?
No,
That
From
was
the teaser?
no. Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, I did. He's like a chosen one guy
I don't think
in
that,
one of the pictures.
I don't know.
That's what I
See,
got.
I was
from it.
I was confused by this too. I just watched the trailer. I'm just like, oh, it's an anthology, and it's like, oh, these characters all look kind of like references to something. But then I saw a list of the actual names of the franchises, and I'm like, oh, is this officially supposed to be like extra cutscenes from these actual franchises, like in
No.
their real universes?
These are like shorts or episodes. So it's been done by the people that did was it Love, Sex and Robots or something like that on
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
which is pretty well received. Like they're an animated studio, obviously adult animation stuff like that. But they're doing a series, an anthology series that's going to hit a bunch of video game franchise IPs.
Yeah. I mean, those IPs, I can leave the list for you here. It is Armored Core, Concord, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World Aeternum, Pac-Man, PlayStation, like highlighting PlayStation various.
Kratos was in there.
We saw Kratos, yeah. Sifu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, which is cool, and Warhammer 40K. So I got this from the teaser that this was like, yes, they're all different stories, but based around one guy going between each story. Is that wrong? That's what I got from the teaser. That's what I got from the
I
teaser.
didn't get that vibe.
I didn't get the one guy thing. I mean, I know there's a guy in the beginning and who I can't. I mean, you don't really identify him. At least I couldn't as a video game character. But then again, I didn't know that anyone was specific. I thought that it was just in the style of until I read that list afterwards. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. It seems interesting that it's all just going to be official like stories from these universes or something. That's what I'm thinking. That would be most interesting to me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and I guarantee what this is going to be. This is going to be a test bed, right? For the studio is able to crank the stuff out. They're going to, they probably went to these companies like, hey, we want to do, like I said at the beginning of the year, it's like they want to grab up all these video game IPs. Doesn't matter how new or young or fresh, like Sifu's over there. So yeah, it's like
for it.
It's like, yeah, hey, we want to make something on this. Let's make one episode, see how it does, and if it's popular reception, I mean, we could cook. We can cook with this, right? So.
So if everybody likes the Armored Core stuff, we're gonna make something Armored Core.
Yeah. Interesting enough, I saw something where somebody was reporting Keanu Reeves is involved in the Armored Core one. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So I don't know. We'll see what this becomes.
Yeah, cool.
Like you said, the tech demo for them for everything to sell. All these games. Kratos in a movie. Let's see how this does. So. All right.
And Churro chimed in. If it's like Love, Sex, and Robots, every episode would be short enough to where it can't possibly be terrible. So
yeah. No, you're right. It can't sell your universe. It can't be bad. Well, can it? I don't know. It can't be that bad. No. It looked. I mean, the trailer, the teaser looked cool.
Yeah, I mean, the closest comparison I can make is something to like Animatrix or the Halo, whatever anime they did, where it's like you get 10 or a dozen or whatever episodes, and every episode is independent, self-contained.
I mean, that's what they did with. That was the cool part. That's some cool Star Wars stuff right there.
Yeah, Star Wars Visions. Yeah, remember?
Yeah, Visions. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, we'll see what that becomes, and I think that's it for the Moviecast, folks. That's gonna wrap it up. I think I got everything. I'll just double check. All right, so it's gonna end this episode, guys. Stay tuned for the Gamecast coming up next. We will see you guys. We are out.